Paul, do you agree with LeBron about ring culture?
Well, there has to be a measuring stick. And why do we play the game? You know, is it for the fame? Is it for the fortune? Because as a kid, you play to win. And you are always measured on how much you won. Mm-hmm. And sports will always be that way. Now, I remember LeBron left Cleveland to chase rings in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't that about trying to get a ring?
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Right? Because he was trying to fulfill his legacy. You know, and same with Kevin Durant. So it just begs the question, like I said earlier, why do we play? You know, is it for fun? Is it for money? Is it for fame? Because I've always played to win, to be the best. And that's how we are measured as individuals, because when you are winning rings, it's proven that you are the best. And so it's kind of hypocritical for Bron to kind of say this, being that he went to Miami, then back to Cleveland, then to L.A. in search of rings. And that's how we measure sports across the board. In order to be the greatest, yeah, you can have all these. I could be on a bad team and have all the individual stats, but it doesn't make you great if you don't win. And that's why we measure players to that degree on how much you win and how many rings or trophies you got. It's all measured, and there is levels to this. You can't come to the Truth Lounge and just get in the VIP. You know, it's certain status that you got to have or a certain type of bankroll. Same in sports. It just is what it is. Some players are general admission. Some players are VIP. And then you got others who are VIP. And that's the upper echelon. So it just is what it is.
No, you know, the one thing in my career, you know, I was never, it's weird because I never was chasing a gold jacket. I didn't want to play forever to get a gold jacket, right? The numbers sometimes will kick you over the top. The longer you play, the longevity, the numbers, you could do those things. But I did not want to be a guy that played and wasn't a significant part of a team that won a championship. I wanted to be a significant part of that team to get a ring, because when my career was on, well, oh, he was cool, he was good, but he never won a championship. Yeah. So my focus was, I need to get a damn ring. I got to figure it out.
How important was it that you were a significant part of that too? Not just get a ring, not just get a ring, but that I'm a good reason why.
Our defense was about 75% of the reason that we won the championship, but offensively, we pushed the needle at the level we needed to, and I was a significant part of that. Yeah. It's just the system I was in, but when they threw the damn ball, they knew who they was throwing it to. You see what I'm saying? So that was important to me, because when you're at the table at the conversation, just think about these owners that have teams, Joy. Owners that have teams, Rick, they go to these, and I like to say West Palm Beach, because that's where they always had their little meetings at the hotel. Some of them dudes walking around there, they can get into the conversation, but the conversation ain't the same. They can't use the same words. They can't sit at the same exact seat that Jerry and Mr. Rooney and the Tisch family can sit in. Mr. Kraft got a whole separate table over there by himself with all his rings laid out. And there's other guys that just look at him and go, what's it like to win a Super Bowl and have a post-Super Bowl party? They own the teams. They got billions. They all got yachts. But they don't have a ring. Think about that. Right. They all buy them big old 300-foot yachts and helicopters and all. But if you ain't got a ring, you look like a different owner.
I don't remember. I don't know if you ever saw this, Joy, with Mickey Arison. And I wish I could remember who the owner was. But I remember Mickey was talking to the owner, to this other owner. And he was wearing his championship ring, and I forget what they were talking about. And Mickey just rubbed his cheek, let him know, let him see that ring. Because it's like, I got one of these and you don't.
Think about like for instance, like, I don't know, the Spanos family from the Chargers. They've gone to a Super Bowl. They got a ring. When they looking at Mr. Kraft and Jerry, even though Jerry got him 30 years ago, he still got rings. Mr. Kraft, he got so many damn rings, they're going to give him another hand.
It just feel better, like, you know, talking to the, you know, like I was in the room with, like, the top 75, right? So I look over, I see Magic, Isaiah, and Mikal. I got it on video. So it felt good me having a ring to go, hey, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing? I'm in the room, you know, like, whereas you seeing other guys who, like, kind of sitting off over there. Kinda like,
When they shake your hand, it don't clink because they ain't got their ring on. They don't clink.
yeah, everybody got their ring. Everybody who won got their little ring on at the top 75. We all in the back before we all walk out. So I'm over there like, yeah, I feel good walking over there like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, my guy?
What's up, my guy?
You confident? You confident? Yeah. And
I will say this. Look, LeBron has a point in that I feel as if in some ways we've become too obsessed with the ring as a defining thing. Does it make a difference? No question. But there are a lot of players. There are a lot of great players that we now kind of dismiss. Or it's like he's only got 2. He's not as good as the number 4. I think how you get them and the role that you played in getting them is an important element to that. LeBron is not the one, though, to be having this conversation. At least not with having the awareness of saying, you know what, I contributed to this. Like, I realize now that it's gone too far.
Right.
But to Paul's point, I went to 2 different places because I bought into the ring culture. And I said, after we beat the Golden State Warriors for the 2016 title, this made me the GOAT. If you're not buying into the ring culture, how can you say that winning that championship defines you as the greatest of all time? So I agree with him, but dude, you're the one who helped create this obsession with rings as a defining factor in judging players. So unless you're acknowledging that you did that, I don't want to hear you talking about how people are being dismissive of great players.
Well, great players do not have to have a title in order to be a great player. But there is a difference between a champion and a great player. We have a measurements in sports. We aren't playing for individual awards. Even in individual sports, we are playing to win. You are running the 100-meter dash to win. You're not doing it to set your own personal record. You're not running it just to set the record for your country. You're running to win the race. You play to win the game, right? You play to win the game.
I hear you.
So that is important. There's just a separator. It doesn't mean that these other players aren't great. And that's where I would agree with him. Like, saying that a player isn't great because they don't have a championship is incredibly silly. There are massively impactful players who have changed the course of whole franchises, that have changed the course of a sport, that didn't have titles. Because especially in team sports, there's so much out of your control. You guys know there's so much that has to happen in order for you to win a championship. Where you go, who the coaches are, what your quarterbacks are. So health. There's so many things. It's so hard to win a championship, just to win one. I mean, we talk about Aaron Rodgers, and we put him in the same breath as a lot of players. He's been to and won 1 Super Bowl. But him having that 1 Super Bowl,
you can have that conversation.
You can have that conversation because he won that 1 Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
But, he mentioned Allen Iverson. You obviously have Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Reggie Miller, like Vince Carter, Dan Marino, Barry Sanders, Randy Moss, Warren Moon. You're not Eric Dickerson. Like, you're not saying these are not great players. They are all-time great players. They're Hall of Famers. They had significant contributions. Some of these players, people say are the best. Like, some people say that Barry Sanders is the best running back that's ever played the game. He doesn't have a championship, and we know why.
If Dan Marino had 1 championship,
We'd look at him in a different light.
You'd have a different conversation. You'd start to talk about, on a constant basis, that top quarterback spot because of everything else that he was able to do. It's like, we all like cake for the most part, but for some reason, cake with icing on it just tastes a little bit better, right? 100%. It just tastes a little bit better.
You get that carrot cake with the icing, ooh.
But if I gave you a carrot cake, without the cream icing, you would be like, okay, it's cool. But then if I throw the icing on top, you're going to be like, damn,
you have red velvet.
Give you the red velvet without the icing?
Without the icing?
Without the icing.
See, but if I put the icing on, it's like me giving you the ring.
Right.
Same thing.
Here's the thing, though.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
It's good, but that ring make it better.
Right. How much is this LeBron realizing I'm at a place now where the ring conversation for GOAT doesn't get me there?
Well, because if you start
so let's change the conversation.
Yeah, because you start throwing that out,
He's got a better case.
Are you saying that he now realizes that he's probably not going to get another ring? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But a ring is not the only measurement of success. There are individual awards. There are individual records. There are individual contributions that players have within team sports that do count and matter. We talk about how many All-NBAs players have.
Looks different.
We talk about how many MVPs players have. We talk about how many finals MVPs that players have. And we always, measure them up against other greats. So rings are not the only things that matter. There are players who have won more rings than the greatest.
Yeah.
But so it's not the only measurement.
Right.
So I do understand what LeBron is saying, and that's why the conversation, when you say, okay, well, they just don't have as many rings, well, that's not the only way to measure a player's greatness,
no.
and it doesn't negate a player from being great if they don't have one.
But I'd also say that we don't do it just by rings, because otherwise Bill Russell, I think, would be more in the conversation
unanimous GOAT
right?
Yeah.
And he's not. I can't help it.
But you also are talking to individuals about Bill Russell that never seen him play.
Yeah.
So they're not going,
Well, I think
they're not going to appreciate it the same way.
We include nuance in arguments when we want to, and we usher it out the door when it doesn't serve us.
Yeah.
But what I will say about it, though, is we're also a bit spoiled. I don't know if spoiled is the right word, but it makes the conversation hard when you've got a guy like Tom Brady winning 6 championships and then leaving and immediately winning another championship into his 40s. It makes it tough. It's tough when you've got Jordan being perfect in NBA Finals.
Never
and
won a
we
Game 7.
watched him never getting to a Game 7, and we watched him be
MVP.
the vessel for this dynasty. That's hard. It's hard to watch that and just say, okay, well, we're going to make these other concessions to allow other people into the conversation. Sometimes there's just some guys who are, they have their own table. They just get their own table.
Right.
They get their own table, their own server.
Tom Brady and Mike get their own table.
They get to keep their cigars and their wine in their locker, and nobody else has access to that.
Even Jordan's celebration was different than everybody else. It just looked different. Well, I'm looking at it just now. I'm like, damn, that's cool.
You know what it is?
It just looks different.
You know what it is? It's not. He's not.
No, it just looked different.
But
you know what it is? The one where he stood up and it just looked different.
Because you know what it is? He's not surprised by it.
Look at that. It just looked different.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I'm just letting you know I did it again. Okay?
It just looked.
I knew I was going to do it again.
You know that looks different.
But I'm letting you know I did it again. That's the difference.
And look, I ain't even talking to you, Chuck. I'm gone. It's just different. I'm gone, man.
With hoops, the Indiana Fever won their 2nd straight game since Caitlin Clark's return from injury, beating the Connecticut Sun 88-71 last night. But things got spicy in the 3rd quarter when J.C. Sheldon poked Clark in the eye when reaching in to swipe at the ball. After the whistle, Marina Mabry, I cannot read right now, Mabry, knocked Clark to the floor, earning the technical foul. And then with 40 seconds left in the game, Fever guard Sophie Cunningham took Sheldon down with a hard foul in the fast break, which led to a bench-clearing shuffle. That was quite the setup for what was some back and forth. This isn't the first time we've seen this type of treatment from opponents, but Rick, is the physicality against Caitlin Clark justified?
Yes. 1, because she's really good, and with any great player, you're going to try to intimidate physically if you can. And 2, because she brings it on. She talks trash. She lets you know when she's putting it in your eye. She walks around the floor, whether it's with the referees, whether it's with the opponent, whether it's with anybody, as if she's the baddest woman on the planet, if not on the court. And she has the ability to back that up. I don't have any issue with that. But when you have that swag, you're going to get some pushback. And she gives as good as she gets. This idea, that whole exchange there, this, right? If you're going to do that, then you better expect that people are going to come for your head. It's as simple as that. She's not a victim, right? She's not being bullied, okay? She's getting what somebody who believes I'm the best here and I'm going to let you know and I'll put it in your face. People are going to come back at you when you do that. It's as simple as that.
I mean, there's no way. Look. Players like this come around once, sometimes in our lifetime. Mm-hmm. There hasn't been
once in a generation, certainly.
But no player in WNBA history has had to deal with this, right?
What?
What she's dealing with.
What? What is she dealing with?
Fouling from day one already, but she's been crowned. I mean, she's already nobody who was the face of the league in the first few years of the WNBA.
I'll tell you the physicality of the game. I went to the Seattle Valkyrie game.
Who?
No. It's not any one player. It's not any one player.
Think about the stars.
But the game is also WNBA. The W game has evolved though, Paul, since it's entered into. It's just. It's
but like, who can we
now.
say in the NBA got this type of treatment? Jordan got this treatment.
Yeah.
The Jordan rules.
Sure.
First the fifth, they slammed. First the Celtics. Jordan got this, right?
Yeah.
I really can't, maybe LeBron a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe not at this level.
Yeah.
But we're looking at a player who came in and is at the face of the league in their first year. They brought fanfare. They brought an attitude. They brought something that we all gravitated to now.
Yeah.
And they don't like that at such a young age. They're looking at her like,
sure.
Man, who is this?
Sure.
Why is she getting all, why is this? And we're not going to see this again in our lifetime. I'm going to be somewhere in heaven on the beach next time a player like this come around in the WNBA.
Beach heaven?
Well, you don't think Juju Watkins is like that?
She's not going to have this.
She doesn't have this, but this isn't just talent.
Think about this. Who can we think of in the NBA that had this? Only Jordan.
So crazy you mentioned Juju. I was just talking about her the other 2 days ago about her ability and what she going to be and how she going to be. Mm-hmm. And they was just basically saying she get ready to, if she comes back healthy the way they envision, the WNBA going to be hers for the keeping.
This is different, bro. This is different. And I know Juju is great, but she didn't get the fanfare out of college that she got.
But it's beyond talent. It's not just talent. It's her swag, and it's her arrogance, and it's her story. She doesn't look like she should be this good.
Yeah.
She's not physically like Juju. You look at her and her ability and her athleticism. She works you like. But you got this little white girl, this 6-foot skinny white girl, doesn't look like she's particularly fast, and she's lighting you up. And she does it in a different way even than Steph. This isn't just hitting logos. Because Steph will shimmy and he'll celebrate, but he's not looking at somebody.
No, she does. She's got some arrogance to her and some swag to her, but I don't think. Look, last year they beat her up a little bit when she came into the league.
That was face of the league.
But that was part. I don't necessarily know if it was just the face of the league or they were doing it from an intimidation standpoint because they knew that she would eventually be good and they wanted to send a message, and it just carries over. All it's doing is carrying over this year. That's all it is. It ain't. Look, that's the way they play. They're more physical than they were in the past.
It's just a lot of animosity toward her because of what she's been given. It's such an early age.
But that animosity, though,
it is.
Some of that is her own doing, too, though, Paul.
Man,
by her attitude.
Man, her attitude, what? She don't cause fight. She don't hard foul out there. She just busting everybody up night in and night out. And everybody's is hot that she's getting the commercials. She's probably going, do she got a shoe? Hold on. Do she got a shoe? Or she got one in the making? It's like, damn, she getting all of this because other players
may have a shoe.
Because other players say, I came in and was doing the same thing.
But she's got everything else.
I came in, you can look at Candace Parker. She came in, was the MVP as a rookie. We didn't give her what she's getting.
Did she act like that?
Now, no.
Did she act like that?
Act like what?
Act like I'm the baddest.
I'm walking out here, I'm better than all y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhat I like that.
Right, but hold on.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying she's doing it.
Caitlin Clark should act exactly how
she's acting. Exactly.
I'm not saying she shouldn't.
She better have some squabbles.
Thank you.
Some squabbles?
Thank you.
Period.
Thank you.
I don't say nothing crazy that I can't back up. Not a single thing.
Okay.
Not never, nowhere.
Talk that talk there, Joy. Go on, talk that talk. I'm listening.
Talk that talk.
And I will, and did. And sometimes somebody bigger than you
come back at
and
you.
stronger than you might, or just catch you slipping, might have a problem with that. And you know what you do? You bust her ass on the other end of the court. Or right there. Or put it in her eye and keep it moving. She's not shy and she shouldn't be. She shouldn't be any less, I don't even like the word arrogant. She shouldn't be any less confident than she is. She shouldn't change anything about how she plays. She is not a victim. It is so frustrating to hear this. It's hard, I think, for some people who are new to the WNBA to understand the physicality. You're not watching the NBA. The WNBA is physical. There are fights every night.
It's a ground game.
They're going to fight. It's scrappy. It's extremely physical. You are not watching the NBA. And the refs are, for the most part, going to let it happen.
They're not that good.
And Caitlin Clark knows what she's dealing with. And she's a grown woman.
Yeah.
You stop caping up like this is like, what do you expect everyone to do? Here's my frustration with this competition situation. So you expect, people who have a problem with this, who are like putting on their robes for Kayla, which, by the way, she never asked for. And probably hates.
And doesn't complain.
And doesn't complain about it. Do you expect all the other ladies in the WNBA to show up? You know what? We're playing Caitlin tonight. Let's be very demure. Let's make sure that we play very clean basketball. We're going to make sure that we don't touch her too much. If things get physical, just remember she's the face of the league. Please. It's sprinkled with misogyny,
so stupid.
Obviously. But the bigger point is she is a professional athlete, and she is one of the best, and she's ascending into being the best in the WNBA. She's fine.
Right.
Okay. Well said.
Please.
Well done.
Woo. Way to go.
Well done. Case closed.
No squabbles. She'll be fine.
Bring it on.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.